Let us jump straight into this one. Meet Namiki Haruka, an absolute underdog who spent years grinding weak monsters to reach the top, but his luck is terrible. He runs into Yukimura Shinji, a rank S elite jerk, who absolutely refuses to share a floor with weak hunters. Namiki tries to fight back, but Shinji's gravity power completely destroys him. Even at level 100, his stats are trash compared to the pros. He gets crushed like paper beaten down and tossed into the dungeon abyss to die. Years pass. Shinji is now in another dungeon, completely cornered by an impossible boss. Suddenly, every monster is sliced to ribbons by him, Namiki. He is back, radiating insane levels of power. Shinji stares in pure shock that he survived, screaming he will just destroy him again. He unleashes that same gravity power, but it does absolutely nothing. Why? Because our guy is now level 6000 with completely broken stats. Desperate, the former bully grabs a female hostage just to escape. In a flash, Namiki slices his gut open without breaking a sweat. The rank S genius drops to his knees, ugly, crying, and begging for mercy. Our hero has unlocked a tier of power humanity has never seen. Now everyone is going to bow before the absolute new god of the dungeon. Now pay attention, because this is exactly how he got so overpowered. Let us rewind to that deadly fall. After hitting the absolute bottom, he wakes up without a single scratch. He opens his status window and his jaw drops. Everything doubled. He gained brand new abilities, and his level smashed through the limiter to 101. He stands up totally confused. But his body feels incredibly light, and his sword moves like a natural extension. Then, right out of nowhere, a massive two-headed fire-spitting dog called Orthrus attacks. The beast lunges, but his brand new resistance skill automatically activates, blocking the intense flames. His appraisal skill kicks in, reading the monster completely. 20 seconds later, he predicts every single attack. 36 seconds in, he finds an opening and cleanly slices off one head. The other head snaps at him for revenge, but he shoves his blade straight down its throat. And just like that, a brand new skill unlocked. But suddenly, the entire system starts glitching out, leaving Namiki wondering what kind of crazy power this really is. The skill is called Insight, revealing the hidden truth of anything. He tried to figure out what that actually meant. It sounded exactly like the basic radar skills newbie explorers always got. If it was just basic trash, why hadn't he unlocked it before? He decided to test it out anyway. Firing up Insight, he realizes something crazy. If it was not for the Orthrus's low level, he could have pushed further. That jerk Shinji had claimed Namiki was the only one going to die, so he probably fed Himawari a bunch of lies about what happened. If that was true, Namiki needed to move fast, even with a strange, lingering pain he couldn't figure out. Soon his scan finished and the situation looked really bad. You and I both know that was too easy, right? Finding out that scary Orthrus was just a baby confirmed he hit the 5th floor. If he just kept running downstream, he might actually find safety. But running blindly meant risking more deadly monster encounters anyway. He turned around feeling an incredibly heavy killing intent locking onto his back. He wondered if something followed from the entrance. He realized he was in serious trouble, and at this exact pace, the real monster would catch him. Out of nowhere, he triggers a hidden trap. He cannot even believe his luck is this completely awful. His brain kicks into overdrive. The calculation skill analyzes everything, tracing the exact flight path of every incoming arrow. Seeing the exact math right before his eyes, he knew he had to sprint. But the system flashed red. A high-level beast was closing in. He quickly reviewed the incoming data using Divine Oracle, trying to figure out why so many warning alerts were spamming him at once. A massive fire attribute beast was charging just 120 meters away. The system scanned its level, announcing he would need a massive 1,500,000 experience points. The math proved he still needed way more experience, burning 3 precious minutes just calculating. Appraisal points flooded his screen, leaving our MC totally dizzy from the info dump. Then a low growl echoed and another angry monster exploded from the shadows. The beast blasted a massive wave of fire, forcing Namiki to dive into the water. He recovered quickly, farming even more points from dodging. He stared in absolute shock. Looking closer through the smoke, he realized this was a fully grown adult Orthrus. Just as he suspected, the baby dog had strange powers. Our protagonist barely dodged, getting swallowed whole for a second time. The more he danced around these deadly attacks, the more sweet points he stacked up. But dodging forever was impossible. Even in this total nightmare, the system chimed with yet another points appraisal update. So what do those points even mean? Stick with me, because with his current stats, he can't beat this thing yet. Stick with me here. Our guy needs an escape plan fast, or he's literally going to die of exhaustion. The system, it says 3 minutes are gone. His appraisal points suddenly double, plus Divine Sense kicks in, unlocking totally new skills. Notification spam hits him so hard he actually gets dizzy, finally stopping at a solid rank A. Thanks to combat experience, he bags 1,500,000 points and skyrockets up 50 levels. Namiki is completely baffled. How did his points shoot up that high? He didn't even kill the Orthrus yet. He honestly thinks the system is completely bugged. But hey, no time to stress about bugs when you're fighting for your life. Suddenly, a creepy laugh echoes taunting him for killing that monster's little cub. Now the mama monster is absolutely furious, attacking him without mercy. Meanwhile, Namiki is freaking out. Whose voice is echoing inside his brain? It's a woman's voice, totally invading his thoughts. She casually blames our guy for everything, claiming he's trapped with zero way out of this. He spins around, demanding answers. But Mystery Girl just yawns sleepily, telling him to figure it all out on his very own. Namiki is completely lost right now. Who the heck is this woman, and how did she hack his brain? But with zero answers, he pushes it aside. He desperately needs to focus on not dying right now. You've got to watch closely here. He triggers divine speed points, calculate, and boom. He freezes. Something insane is taking control. He snaps back to reality. More points drop in, but those incoming flames still extremely deadly. Even with a heavily buffed body, there is no way he can hold out much longer. His current pathetic level, a direct hit from those roaring flames will instantly turn him into ashes. So he gambles on water magic. He fires a massive stream straight at the enemy. It hits hard, scoring more points, leaving Namiki completely stunned. Since when was intermediate magic this overpowered? The impact is insanely strong. And wait, is that a giant water dragon bursting from his magic circle? He has no clue how that's even possible, but he's using this new crazy power to stay alive. Namiki spams his magic relentlessly, until finally, the high-pressure jet blasts right through the monster. Critical hit baby points skyrocket instantly as the massive creature crashes hard onto the dungeon floor. But get this, it's still breathing. Talk about some truly terrifying boss-level vitality. No messing around today. Namiki rushes in, swings his sword for the ultimate finishing blow, and finally wipes it out. With the analysis fully done, points rain down until he hits rank A. Optimized combat experience drops a massive 9 million points. Boom, he jumps 300 levels and unlocks advanced magic for all 4 of his attributes. I know we both thought his appraisal skill was useless. Well, guess what? It actually analyzes everything, even the literal flow of time. Now evolved into divine appraisal, the system automatically runs the math on every single experience point he needs. Even better, it literally shows him the most broken ways to farm points, handing out rewards with absolute precision. Experience scales perfectly with level gaps and battle combos. Boom, he just scored a god-tier skill that practically prints massive experience points. This ridiculous experience grind gave him 100 essential points. No wonder he easily smashed his way straight to level 100. Without divine appraisal, he'd be totally clueless about this entire process. But now limits are gone. Namiki can practically taste it. He's about to become wildly stronger than before. Suddenly, crushing Shinji with his bare hands feels totally possible. He stands up, pumped, and completely ready to grind even more levels. Sure, it's not enough yet. Surviving this place takes godlike power, and Shinji is still leagues ahead. But Namiki, he's absolutely locked in on getting stronger. Thinking of Himawari, he grips his lucky charm. He decides he will master his appraisal skill outside the dungeon. He's still gunning for Shinji. Meanwhile, Mystery Girl watches from the shadows, smirking since her little guard dog just got totally wrecked. She admits he had the guts to use his own power to win. Looks like he finally awakened. Meanwhile, cut back to Himawari sitting at home and watching the local news. The broadcast suddenly announces an urgent breaking statement from the Explorers Association regarding the dungeon. Tragic morning headline: Rank D explorer Namiki has officially been declared dead on the very first floor. Her mug hits the floor. She simply cannot believe the terrible news she just heard. Report claims Shinji Yukimura found Namiki's severely damaged body, stating only a bag of personal belongings could be fully recovered. Guilt crushes Himawari. If she just stopped him from becoming an explorer, maybe everything would be completely different. But deep down, she starts seriously wondering, is he actually dead? Wiping her tears, a sudden knock at the door startles her. She slowly opens it only to find Shinji standing right there after being missing for weeks. So, what do you and I make of this? She stares him down, demanding answers. He smirks, claiming he was just passing by. Wild, right? Alright, let's jump right in. He holds up Namiki's bag to return it, and Himawari instantly recognizes it. Without a second thought, she cracks the door open to grab it. Shinji just smirks. The second she makes room, boom. Shinji uses his gravity ability, tossing her inside and slamming the door. He laughs, pinning her to the floor and mocking her like it's a joke. Himawari demands to know his plan, totally paralyzed. Her strength completely useless right now. Shinji leans in, asking if she's okay. She slaps his hand away, which just makes him laugh louder. Surviving the infamous sweet floor was no joke, so naturally her willpower is way stronger than a normal person's. Even crushed by gravity, she fights to stand. Shinji asks if Namiki's death still has her shaken. That's when Himawari realizes this guy is completely insane. Meanwhile, Shinji notices his mind control isn't working on her. Still, she's clearly at a massive disadvantage. Furious, she demands to know why he's doing this. Shinji's answer: stomping on Namiki's bag. He says he watched his kind childhood friend for years. That weak guy constantly ignored someone like him. Over time, Namiki just kept looking happier and happier. Shinji absolutely could not forgive that. In his twisted mind, he had to make our MC suffer pure, absolute despair. Now here's the sick part. With Namiki supposedly dead, Shinji loves watching other people's grief. Himawari calls him absolute trash for losing his mind. Shinji just smiles, cranks up the gravity, and calls her rude. He claims he's perfectly normal, while she's this super talented, heavily admired rank A explorer. Since everyone respects her, she shouldn't use such ugly words. He even claims Namiki would be heartbroken watching this from the afterlife. Himawari just can't understand why he's taking things this far over our MC. Shinji sighs, clearly bored with the whole conversation, and pushes his gravity pressure even higher. Meanwhile, in another part of the dungeon, Namiki glances back. He senses a monster, but his detection skill completely fails. A woman's voice rings out, mocking how humans always try to analyze their enemies way too fast. She mentions taking damage from that mistake before, so this time she prepared well in advance. Miki starts sweating. Did the monster he fought earlier actually fight another explorer before him? A talking water dragon, completely unheard of. He's flying blind here with zero solid information. The woman casually says she just wants to chat and wonders why he's so quiet. He lectures him that one-sided talks go nowhere and strong people must be firm. Namiki just bluntly replies that she talks way too much. She asks if he's making fun of her. He hesitates but agrees. Surprisingly, she almost understands. But then she snaps. Moving in for the kill, she reminds him that to her he's just another pathetic human. You and I know he beat her dog, but she says he shouldn't get cocky. Our MC instantly triggers his body reinforcement, looking tough. But honestly, he knows he needs a miracle to actually win. If he can spam his divine appraisal skill right here, he might evolve fast enough to level the playing field. So hesitation is not an option. He has to survive this dungeon so he can go back and crush Shinji. Namiki prepares to strike. His plan: create a massive fiery blind spot, then rush in slicing. He launches a max power fire attack. The creature just stands there totally curious about his flames. Then he drops his frenzy dance of flames, magic summoning a giant phoenix that absolutely wrecks everything. But the beast effortlessly dodges. She laughs, bragging that this is her territory and she rules it. She points out he only beat the last monster because of a massive power gap, but this time she's taking full control of his magic and deleting it without a sweat. Namiki realizes he doesn't know anything about magic control. Seeing his clueless face, she just laughs. She casually drops that she uses Annihilation class magic way above his pay grade. Can she read his mind too? Annihilation class. That means an insane god-tier level of power he couldn't even begin to imagine. She explains Mythic class sits between Advanced and Annihilation. She's leagues above him. Even a special class could totally nullify his magic. Despite the crazy danger, Namiki realizes she is calmly giving him a full magic lesson. She states he's literally zero threat right now. To even challenge her, he needs 4,000 power points. Level 4,000. That sounds impossible, but stick around, we're about to see how he pulls this off. Alright, stick with me, watch him check his status, hitting level 452 with all rank B stats. Even then, he knew he was strong enough to completely crush an advanced Orthrus. This just proved she was on a totally different tier, leaving Namiki sweating and guessing her true identity. He tried keeping a cool head as she mentioned her past mistake getting hurt because she acted way too recklessly. She explained it all traced back to Orochi, the beast that recently started breaking out of dungeons to destroy cities. Orochi, a top-tier disaster dragon packing absolute terrifying strength and crazy destructive fire. Even rank A explorers got totally wrecked by it, forcing the association to assemble their heavy hitters. They formed a special squad to take Orochi down, and during the fight, they actually spotted some weak points. They swapped to a super aggressive strategy but still couldn't win. Hearing this crazy story, Namiki finally connected the dots. The girl talking to him might actually be Orochi herself. If that was true, game over. With his current stats, he stood absolutely zero chance and desperately needed an escape plan. Stalling for time, he kept the conversation going, asking why a monster like her even cared about a weakling. She smirked. Pure curiosity. She just wanted to know how such a pathetic human managed to actually steal her power. Now pay attention here. She called that her real motive, right as a massive hand suddenly burst from a magic circle. The hand held out an item, leaving Namiki completely stunned, demanding to know its origin. Swishing her multiple tails, she casually admitted she stole it right from human belongings. Namiki started panicking. Did this mean other insane creatures like her were out there causing massive destruction? Based on her creepy tone, he quickly figured it out. That arm reaching through the circle was Orochi's actual true body. Orochi saw him freeze up and teased him. Was he just speechless? Or did he seriously not want to answer her question? Miki did the math. According to her logic, he needed to hit level 4,000 just to survive a fight. Right now, zero chance of winning. But then he remembered his trump card and activated his skill, God's Test. The system booted up, scanning the enemy's insane level, desperately searching for any possible winning strategy. While the interface crunched those numbers, Namiki saw a crazy opening. He could actually use this data to survive. The scan finished with a ridiculous requirement. He needed exactly 25 million experience points for the next major power jump. Orochi blinked as Namiki suddenly dashed forward aggressively, yanking at the arm inside the circle. He literally destroyed her right arm, forcing out an agonizing scream just as the system clicked done. By actually damaging a disaster tier boss like Orochi, he instantly bagged 25 million points, rocketing straight to level 2200. Plus, the system handed him a brand new skill. Even he was totally speechless at his own insane level jump. I know what you're thinking. A perfect new skill. Yep, he scored ultra physical enhancement. He finally got it. God's test totally set up that exact move, telling him to sever that arm at the perfect second. Bleeding Orochi actually admitted the human had pulled off a really impressive stunt. But make no mistake, she was absolutely furious. A cheap surprise attack actually wounding her unacceptable. Miki gave a fake apology, claiming he couldn't stick around since he had to stop Shinji. He figured Himawari a rank, a explorer could definitely hold her own. Even so, his gut was screaming at him. He knew he had to rush back to her side immediately. Orochi saw him zoning out and snapped. Did he really think she would just stand there and let him leave? With one arm totally ripped off, she decided to execute him herself. Commanding her massive tails to distract him until she could step in, she launched a deadly strike he barely managed to dodge. Namiki felt the terror. It wasn't just her severed arm that packed a punch, her entire monstrous main body was an absolute nightmare. The aura radiating off her was literally suffocating. Even with that massive level boost, winning still felt completely impossible. He fired up God's test one more time, scanned the fresh data, and heavily reinforced his physical stats. Fighting through blinding agony, he sprinted right at her, only to get swatted away like an absolute bug. The crash was so brutal, he fumbled his sword gasping, as sharp piercing pain exploded through every single muscle. Barely able to flex a muscle, he watched the situation spiral, while the system frantically crunched a new battle plan. Reading the pop-up, he completely froze. Wait, was victory still possible? The prompt told him to trigger ultra-physical enhancement, and despite the confusion, he went all in. The second he popped the skill, his body ignited with searing heat, completely catching the dragon boss off guard. Pushed to the absolute edge of losing control, he snatched his sword and literally sliced the monster in half. The interface chimed in. Target eliminated. God's test officially marked as fully completed. The system tallied up his crazy damage combos, rolling those sweet experience numbers again. He scored a massive rank AA, banking almost 11 million points for that epic kill. Boom. Just like that, Namiki instantly skipped another 600 levels at once. So here's where you and I leave off. Shinji frantically calling for transport, watching Himawari lying completely knocked out. Alright, stick with me. After that insane battle, Namiki scores mental mapping, weakness detection, and better insight. But his head starts spinning. Overusing ultra body fortification. Definitely a massive mistake. He collapses, spitting blood as pure agony tears through his body. He has zero clue what's happening. Popping open his status, the truth hits. His physical state is critical, and his blood toxicity is absolutely off the charts. No wonder the room is spinning. Spamming that skill, yeah, definitely a bad idea. Looking back, he spots something super weird, a creepy gas drifting straight out of the dead monster. So even dead, this thing is kicking. The gas floats toward the main body, and Namiki remembers he needs level 4000 to fight Orochi. With his current stats, beating the main boss is a total joke. Plus, he's got to head back and deal with Shinji first. He absolutely has to stop that jerk. Then he spots a random phone lying there. It's the exact same item Orochi dropped through that magic circle earlier, so he grabs it. Watch closely. Namiki fires up mental mapping, and boom, he's not on floor 5, but the 20th. That is the absolute deepest any explorer has ever gone. His personal best, only floor 10. He never imagined Shinji's attack would launch him all the way down from floor 1. Booting up the God's test, he confirms he's pushing through floor 18 while his target is on 25. The system says they'll crash into each other in 45 minutes. But Orochi's main body might catch him first. The system immediately starts crunching the numbers, calculating required levels and the exact experience points he needs. While brainstorming an escape plan, a nasty alert pops up: high-level monsters detected straight ahead. A mob of beasts blocks his path. Zero time to waste, his only choice is power leveling like an absolute madman. He instantly activates his skills, scanning the enemies for any fatal weaknesses. Miki locks in, tweaking his game plan and hitting every single vulnerable spot with dead precision. He slaughters 3 Baphomets, racking up points and clearing another God's test stage. Levels go up, but so does the agonizing pain. Spinning around a 3-headed beast charges him. He instantly blasts it with a massive water attack. Direct hit. A fast critical completely blows off one of the Cerberus heads. But this freak is still moving, so he just keeps swinging, shredding whatever crosses his path. The plan: milk the God's test until he squeezes out every last drop. After running more analysis, he farms around 70,000 experience points. Hitting level 3,000, he completely unlocks a brand new broken skill, double slash. Getting a rare sword technique is huge, but he knows this fight isn't even close to over. You and I know anime monsters play dirty right. The surviving Baphomets start muttering, calling in backup. Running on pure fumes, Namiki remembers Himawari. He refuses to die here. Then a massive, terrifying presence forces him to look back. Looming behind him, a colossal, red-eyed monster absolutely dwarfing every other creature in the room. Out of nowhere, a brutal attack sends him flying backwards. Golems on this floor, makes no sense. But then he realizes they're teaming up as multiple Baphomets trigger magic circles together. With zero time to dodge, Namiki barely avoids a massive sudden wave of magic blasts. Falling hard, a magic circle instantly yanks his leg. He has to do something right now. The gods test reboots, drafting a fresh strategy while he's pinned down, completely surrounded by bloodthirsty Baphomets. Calculations locked, Namiki executes the perfect optimized move, spamming double slash. He shreds the front line while dodging ranged attacks from the back. He pushes forward like a tank, his evaluation points skyrocketing. But spamming skills is leaving his body completely wrecked and exhausted. And right on cue, a sneaky golem ambushes him from behind. Cut to Himawari trapped inside a locked room, finally waking up after being unconscious forever. Shinji Yukimura laughs, asking if she's finally awake. He admits his charm spell barely worked, genuinely impressed by her pure willpower. He brags it's easier juggling multiple women, but Himawari just strictly demands to know his actual goal. Grabbing her face, Shinji sneers. He always hated her because her eyes still held hope that Namiki had survived. He just can't fathom how she'd call the main character a trash explorer, yet still clearly care about him. Himawari snaps back. After a certain incident, Namiki became insanely obsessed with getting way stronger. So what do we learn here? He risked his life, and she just genuinely wanted him safe. Let's jump straight into the madness. Even so, she told him the choice was completely his, but deep down she knew our boy wouldn't die that easily. She really wanted to believe he was alive. Meanwhile, Namiki stared down the massive golem and completely obliterated its body using pure water magic. Just like that, he cleared another stage of the gods trial, bagged 9 million experience points, and leveled up massively. Dying here wasn't an option. He had to make it back to Himawari no matter what it took. The system chimed in, he just hit level 600 and his physical reconstruction was starting immediately. Totally confused, Namiki wondered what reconstruction even meant. Suddenly his body felt super heavy, practically falling apart from the inside. As the brutal pain faded, he realized more monsters surrounded him while those creepy Baphomets muttered absolute nonsense. Spotting a weird magical barrier around himself, he tried to analyze it right as the gods trial suddenly restarted. His points started tallying, and he lunged for his sword just as new magical attacks came flying in. Namiki sprinted, dodging and perfectly neutralizing the hits. But the Baphomets kept pushing, forcing him to spam his double slash repeatedly to counter their magic with his own. Every successful block earned him more points, but 30 grueling minutes dragged on with him doing absolutely nothing but defending. Completely exhausted, he felt like his body might collapse at any second. Trapped by the barrier, he couldn't even counterattack like usual. The constant pain was blinding and his dodges were getting sloppy. Even when practically doomed, the gods trial finally ended and began tallying up his final score. Boom, another 8 million experience points. He gained a ton of levels in minutes, instantly skyrocketing to level 3,800. He only needed 200 more levels to hit the minimum requirement and trigger that mysterious reconstruction again. Watch closely because here's where it gets wild. He was still confused when Orochi suddenly appeared, noticing his total exhaustion. Namiki turned and faced Orochi's original humanoid body. She announced she had finally arrived in her main form, looking completely worn out from tracking him down. Namiki was stunned. How the heck did she cross 5 whole dungeon floors in just a matter of minutes? She casually phased through the barrier and stepped closer, taking in the absolute mess he had left behind. Right then it clicked. Every single monster he desperately fought so far was acting under her direct orders. Orochi asked if he was even listening, but Namiki was distracted. He noticed she was staring dead at her right arm. He was absolutely positive he had sliced that arm clean off earlier. Seeing it perfectly attached, he realized her insane regeneration skills were real. Catching his stare, Orochi smirked. She admitted it stung a bit, but losing a random body part was honestly no big deal for her. Even while injured, she confessed she would love to kill him right here, right now. But first, she wanted her stolen property back. Totally lost, our guy asked what the heck she meant. Orochi just rolled her eyes annoyed, claiming he knew exactly what he took. She pointed straight at the item he grabbed earlier, and Namiki instantly realized it was the smartphone. He asked for a trade, but you and I know villains never play fair. She admitted he was stronger now, but still nowhere near enough to actually defeat her. Namiki silently agreed. He was still leagues behind, desperately needing 200 more levels just to fight her on completely equal footing. But at this pace, his body would shatter from the unbearable pain and exhaustion long before that. Orochi promised a painful death if he didn't hand it over, and suddenly the system restarted the divine trial again. Out of time, Namiki went all in. The system rapidly calculated his required experience and forcefully adjusted his combat actions for maximum efficiency. He lunged with a massive double slash. Orochi easily blocked it, taking a tiny scratch on her cheek as she prepared a deadly counterattack. She laughed, calling that scratch absolutely pathetic for a special move. Meanwhile, Namiki's experience just spiked by 13 million, rocketing his levels upwards. Crossing level 4000, his body violently started its next massive reconstruction. A massive sudden explosion forced even Orochi to flinch backwards. When the dust finally cleared, Namiki's body had completely evolved. Orochi instantly felt a terrifying new kind of pressure radiating off him. The boy wasn't feeling pain anymore. Plus, his combat senses were honed to an absolute peak. Sensing danger, Orochi frantically ordered her monster army to strike, seizing her best window. They all unleashed their deadly attacks at once. Namiki simply leaped effortlessly, slipping through their magic like it was absolute child's play. Orochi was visibly stunned by his godlike speed. In a flash, he completely shut down every attack coming his way. Against all odds, Namiki reactivated the divine test, completing the analysis instantly. The system finally confirmed it. Orochi was a literal disaster-class monster, commanding 12 units. His new skill let him stick the landing cleanly under another heavy wave of attacks. Namiki charged straight at the mob, and Orochi was completely speechless, seeing his raw speed spike yet again. He crushed everyone with that evolved double slash. Trust me, you and I will love what comes next. Alright, you and I are jumping right into the chaos. His strikes multiplied, wiping out those monsters instantly. The system updated his stats. He was finally ready to face Orochi head-on. She spotted a few sloppy openings in his movements, mostly his back, and decided to strike right there. But the shot barely grazed his shoulder. Our guy dodged and sprinted sideways at the exact last second. Seriously annoyed, Orochi clicked her tongue and launched a homing water bullet straight at him. Then boom, she saw Namiki pop up everywhere at once, like he literally cloned himself. Completely shocked by this crazy new skill, Orochi got blasted from every single direction. Just like that, Namiki took her down. He let out a massive breath when the system confirmed the kill. Taking a deep breath, he looked at the absolute destruction around him. He actually won this alone. Still, he could not stop wondering what he was actually turning into since entering this floor. The sensation of slicing her up was super fresh, but his memory of doing it was totally blurry. Even for a monster, Orochi was a top-tier threat. Fighting her in that weird state was basically a death wish. Well, at least the crisis was over thanks to his awakened skills. Now he just needed to run while he still could. But then a loud mocking laugh echoed out. She said she never expected to lose so easily. Now, pay close attention here. Namiki turned around to an unbelievable sight. Her glowing body was talking like nothing even happened. Completely stunned, he wondered if she was straight up immortal. Orochi laughed, admitting she totally underestimated his brutal attack. Maybe it was better to just finish him off by going all out. After all, it had been a really long time since anyone actually turned the tables on her. The system screamed a warning. Magical energy was spiking way past previous threat levels. Namiki watched her body stitch itself back together while she laughed at his panicked face. Her creepy creatures got ready to fight, and he had to shield his eyes from a massive blinding light blast. His vision cleared. Orochi was standing there, surrounded by a bunch of new monsters. He could barely believe it. Were all those creatures hiding inside her the whole time? The demon stroked one of her beasts, teasing that he was too shocked to scream. She laughed, bragging that nobody could predict a plot twist like this. Since our guy forced her to fight seriously, she decided she did not need to hold back a single drop anymore. Orochi violently whipped her tails at him while the monster pack rushed in together. Namiki barely dodged and fired up the divine test again. The system updated the opponent data. The main body had 6 tails. Every creature had unique skills. They were weaker than the boss, sure, but fast enough to keep him running for his actual life. He took off sprinting, but there were just way too many monsters boxing him in from every side. Even with his massive evolution, Namiki was not strong enough to solo this entire army. Under crazy pressure, one of them bit him hard, sending him crashing to the dirt. He got thrown far, dropped his sword, and stood back up, absolutely furious. With these monsters perfectly synced up, there was literally zero room for mistakes here. The system flashed red, confirming major blood loss from that nasty right shoulder bite. Orochi strolled up smugly, asking where all his speed and power went. Flexing her advantage, she ordered the beast to finish him permanently. I know what you are thinking. How does he beat her in this absolutely impossible situation? He scrambled to find any kind of opening to strike back. That awesome rush of being in control and winning totally vanished in a second. If he popped that crazy ability again, it might save the day, but it could also leave his body permanently wrecked. Trusting the divine test, he let it calculate the most efficient moves and decided to stick right to that plan. Suddenly, a wild, uncontrollable force started welling up deep inside him. The beast lunged, Namiki barely dodged and countered hard. He shoved his sword straight into the creature's teeth, but those fangs completely tanked the hit. Even then, he could feel the enemy's power was just overwhelming. Awakening that raw strength still was not enough, and he was getting completely outclassed. His body burned, his vision spun, and then bam, he took the monster's fire blast head on. He was sent flying across the battlefield by a relentless chain of monster attacks, taking hit after hit. The pressure was insane. The system panic activated a damage reduction skill, but it was nowhere near enough to block it all. Orochi screamed at him, asking how long he planned to play dead, and ordered the execution strike. But through the pain, Namiki desperately kept trying to pull some genius strategy together. So what do you and I make of this? The demon taunted him for giving up, but then he noticed one monster looked completely different. Alright, you and I are about to watch the weirdest fight ever. That monster just licked blood off its hand while Orochi stood there completely lost. Suddenly, every single beast gets dizzy after tasting Namiki's blood. They drop the tough act and turn totally harmless. Orochi is absolutely speechless. They just have this goofy, empty stare, and that is when Namiki finally puts it together. His fortification skill actually spiked his blood alcohol level. So basically, by drinking his blood, these giant terrifying monsters just went full berserker mode but completely wasted. Just like the old Yamata no Orochi myth with the booze, he can totally use this. Namiki just grins while Orochi is literally screaming at her monsters to snap out of it. She is completely furious, but they refuse to listen, just stumbling around like total idiots instead of fighting. Orochi turns back and catches our MC slicing his own arm. If they want his blood so bad, he will serve it up. Freaking out, she asks what he is doing. Namiki just activates physical fortification. He actually taunts them, challenging every single monster to come at him. Watch closely here. They all rush him, and he bets this blood is enough to flip the script. The second the first one hits him, it gets drunk instantly and freezes exactly like he planned. Before Namiki can celebrate, blinding pain hits and he collapses. Another beast charges, so he scrambles right up its scales just to dodge. Even so, he yells out, telling them to drink up even more of him. Soon they are all totally hammered, and he even asks if it tastes good. With them distracted, it is his perfect chance. Then Orochi sneaks up and stabs him in the back. She claims he overthinks everything, but Namiki is already smiling. He completely expected this cheap shot and calls her totally predictable. He pulled this exact stunt before. Now he reads her moves like an open book. Shocked, she asks what his plan is, but he grabs her tight. His goal is obvious now, make her drink his blood. She violently struggles, screaming at him to stop, but it is too late. The booze hits instantly. Orochi gets totally drunk, still begging for him to let go. Namiki finally backs away. She manages to stand wobbly, but still threatening him. Meanwhile, Namiki feels his own vision slowly starting to fade to black. I know what you are thinking, he should rest. Nope, he decides to fight until he passes out. He charges in for the kill. Orochi screams at her beasts, confused why they are still just standing there. Instead of helping, the monsters just sigh, flop down on the dirt, and fall asleep. Orochi completely panics. Taking this massive opening, our guy triggers his physical reinforcement skill for another attack. She turns around, terrified, finally realizing that all of them might actually die right here. No hesitation at all. He slices through the monsters, snagging a fresh level up every kill. Namiki hits level 6000. Meanwhile, Himawari is still locked in her room when the door opens. A girl walks in. Himawari recognizes Aoi immediately and demands to know why. Aoi casually says it has been a while and claims Shinji sent a message asking her to come for a visit. Suspicious, Himawari asks if she fell for Shinji's cheap charm. Aoi looks confused, which just pisses Himawari off. She tries to warn Aoi about the manipulation, but Aoi snaps, telling her to stop talking trash about Shinji. Aoi fiercely insists he saved her and is a good person. She actually believes Namiki is gone forever, claiming Shinji comforted her mind and body at her absolute lowest point. To Himawari, that just proves her best friend is completely under hypnosis. Aoi then complains that the MC always ignored her, making her crazy jealous of Himawari for years. Hearing that leaves Himawari totally stunned and heartbroken. Aoi bluntly admits she hates them both now, even if Himawari simply cannot understand why at all. After all, they had always been super close best friends. Himawari says she sees Aoi just like a little sister and wants to stay close. Right then, Shinji walks in, playing the nice guy who hates interrupting serious talks. Aoi happily runs to him. He gently touches her face, telling her to play nice with Himawari. She apologizes for getting worked up, and Shinji tells Himawari to be kinder to her cute sister. But Himawari just screams, demanding why he is using hypnosis to do sick things. Here is what stays with me. Shinji actually blames her for being stubborn. His gross charm failed completely on her, so she fiercely demands to know what he is doing. He just smiles, revealing the Explorers Association finally called. Alright, stick with me here. The association wanted him fighting Orochi, so he planned to drag Aoi and Himawari into his squad. He basically forced Himawari to tag along, using Aoi as bait, while she clung to him like superglue. Aoi whined that his hands tickled, and seeing that just made Himawari absolutely furious. With a smug smirk, Shinji told Himawari she was joining no matter what, simply because he flat-out refused to leave Aoi behind. But to Namiki, his health just tanked to 5%. Critical condition. Yet barely breathing, he somehow still felt weirdly alive. 137 seconds left on the clock. He had no clue how he was even conscious, just warm skin pressing against him. Without knowing, his head rested right on the lap of Orochi, while the system screamed 90 seconds remaining. The demon boss totally knew it too, and Namiki swore he should have sliced her head off. Orochi called it a shame. She explained they were 8 separate entities combined, only dying if every single one got taken out. Namiki weakly grumbled that she was still just a monster, which actually offended her. Still, she admitted his power surprised them all, and he almost wiped them out entirely. Smiling, she offered to accept him as the timer hit 30 seconds. Namiki was totally lost, making Orochi instantly annoyed at having to explain things twice. Now watch closely. 10 seconds left until our guy dies, and Orochi realizes it is do or die. She had to move fast, pulling a mysterious item straight out of her magic circuit. He weakly asked what her plan was, but instead of answering, she just smiled and slammed a dagger right into his chest. Whispering goodnight to her master, she stepped back as the system initiated divine observation. The sync rate between Namiki and Orochi spiked immediately, locking in a hard connection between them. Epic new abilities unlocked on the spot, and his stats absolutely skyrocketed. Waking up in a total panic, the main character found one of the monsters hovering nearby. But surprisingly, the creature was just staring at him without any hostility. Searching for his sword, his hands hit nothing but air. Then he bumped into something unexpected. Orochi was literally sleeping next to him. Totally startled, his brain short-circuited, trying to figure out why his deadly enemy was napping. You and I both noticed it too. He was butt naked, making this whole situation hilarious. Speechless, he scrambled to find his gear and escape. Suddenly, a monster trotted over, rubbing against his leg like a cat, while Namiki awkwardly whispered for it to stop. All that rustling woke Orochi. She muttered complaints before finally noticing him standing right there. She beamed, super happy her master woke up right as he grabbed some fresh clothes. Orochi kept hyping up his outfit, casually ignoring that she stole those clothes from dead dungeon explorers. Still, they offered top-tier magical protection, but honestly, Namiki just needed answers. After everything that went down, how was he even breathing right now? Orochi finally realized she left him completely in the dark, so they sat down to chat. She revealed they formed a contract. He actually died, but synchronized his body with hers at the absolute last second. The guy froze. That awful memory of a dagger splitting his chest, totally real. With that confirmed, he assumed they shared a state of existence, nervously asking if he was a monster now. She shook her head. They were just permanently linked. Totally lost, he asked what that meant. To prove it, she simply told him to close his eyes and let her borrow his vision. Blindly trusting her, Namiki agreed, finally asking her real name. It hit her then, despite the terrifying Orochi title, she never gave a proper introduction. Her real name, Hachi. Taking a deep breath, he shut his eyes and followed her instructions. A bizarre sensation hit. He was literally looking at his own body from the outside while Hachi giggled, asking how the view was. He admitted it felt super weird, but the puzzle pieces clicked. Basically, he possessed all of Hachi's crazy powers now. She laughed, absolutely loving how fast he adapted. The bond sent his stats through the roof, but she promised a full breakdown later. Flash over to the third-floor conference room where the Explorers Association was holding an urgent meeting. Squad leader and Rank B explorer Ishihara Katsuhiko called everyone in to discuss the Orochi disaster. Over the past few days, dungeon attacks linked directly to her domain had aggressively spiked. Even with backup from cops and elite investigators, they barely fended off her tails to protect the affected cities. The total damage was devastating. Entire zones needed full rebuilding. Yaka Kyogoku reported they discovered Orochi had 6 different forms, figuring out some critical weaknesses during that massive prior clash. So where does this leave us? Turns out her ultimate weakness is pure alcohol, and blasting her with it deals massive damage. Let's jump right in. You and I finally get why monsters can get wasted, making the Yamata no Orochi legend actually make total sense. Ishihara explained they partnered up with a massive company to secure an absolute ton of booze. The plan: gear up instantly and turn the dungeon's 4th floor into an all-out battlefield. They'd lure Orochi straight there, get her completely drunk, and take her down. Ayaka made it clear everyone had to team up, announcing they needed someone for the front line. Right on cue, a cocky voice called out, telling them to leave it all to him, and in walks Shinji. Strutting into the room with a whole squad of girls trailing behind, Ishihara recognized the guy. Trying to keep it polite, he asked if Shinji could seriously handle this mission. Shinji just laughed it off, promising his squad was ready, but Ishihara was shocked, because standing right next to this guy was the incredible Himawari. Meanwhile, down in the dungeon, Hachi was moving Namiki inside a massive water sphere gliding right down the river. He was honestly amazed by how handy this magic was. No wonder he lost so badly before. It finally clicked how she cleared so many floors that fast traveling through the water. Hachi just laughed, bragging that it was amazing but totally exhausting to spam magic like that. She muttered, it would be way easier if she just shifted into a dragon. Hearing that, Namiki asked why she wasn't doing exactly that. Hachi suddenly froze up. Oh boy, he definitely just stepped on a landmine. She quietly confirmed she really didn't want to talk about it yet. Thinking it was weird, he dropped the subject when she insisted they had to escape the dungeon right away. Out of nowhere, Hachi started calling him Lord Namiki. Totally awkward for him, but she claimed it was only natural seeing as he was basically her master now. Even while complaining about the nickname, he finally explained why they were rushing like crazy. Namiki declared he had to save Himawari from Shinji's twisted schemes. Hearing that name, Hachi smirked and asked if this girl was his lover. He completely panicked and denied it, calling her someone he deeply admired. Hachi just giggled without explaining why. Meanwhile, our main character realized he might finally be ready to crush Shinji. Watch closely here. On the 4th floor, explorers were gathering their supplies. They unloaded endless barrels of booze, and even Himawari was pitching in. Ishihara walked over, asking if they could chat for a sec. She nodded, and he immediately thanked her for stepping up to fight Orochi. He admitted it was absolutely insane seeing a genius debut as an explorer while still stuck in high school. Hitting rank A in record time, she was a literal role model. Ayaka quickly scolded him for totally geeking out, making him apologize on the spot. Then he asked the big question. Why join Shinji's squad when his reputation was total trash? Himawari froze. Dark memories of the threats against Offline and the pure humiliation flashed back. Seeing her go completely silent, Ishihara asked if everything was okay. She faked a smile, brushing it off by saying she just knew Shinji from way back. But deep down, she swore to save Offline no matter the cost. Glaring at Shinji, surrounded by his hypnotized harem, including Offline, she couldn't help thinking if only Namiki was here, things would be different. Shinji caught her staring and flashed a cruel smile knowing he was breaking her. We all hate this guy, right? Still, Himawari refused to completely give up. Suddenly, pure panic, someone shouted that a massive Orochi-like target was closing in fast, and everyone scrambled into position. Down on the 4th floor plaza, the scouts suddenly locked onto 15 humanoid shapes. But our main character sensed it first, instantly ordering Hachi to hit the brakes. Totally confused, she slammed to a dead stop, tossing him forward. He whined about the whiplash, but Hachi quickly shot back that he was the one who yelled stop. Namiki warned her that scouts were nearby, and they were definitely hunting her. Hachi was super lost until he showed her the smartphone he had grabbed earlier. Staring at the screen, she recognized her own children in a breaking news report about the subjugation squad's 8th operation. It finally clicked, an entire army was waiting for them. She quickly asked what the plan was. Miki told her to hang back and observe, instantly firing up his God Eye skill. Zooming in, his jaw dropped, seeing Himawari standing next to Shinji. It looked like that trash told her our hero was dead, and she actually bought it. He wondered what the heck happened while he was gone, and Hachi definitely noticed his reaction. She knew Shinji was the scumbag who tortured Namiki, completely untrustworthy. And seeing the girl her master crushed on standing right beside that villain, it made Hachi chuckle. Back at the camp, Shinji ordered Himawari to the absolute front line, telling her she better perform perfectly. Aoi snickered, warning Himawari not to embarrass their precious Shinji. He just laughed at the nasty joke while Aoi faked an apology. Himawari dead silent. She desperately wanted to shatter his mind control, but was completely stuck. Plus, she had to watch Aoi like a hawk. But maybe this crazy fight against Orochi would finally give her an opening. Then a distant scream froze everyone. Trust me, we're about to see pure chaos. Alright, let's dive into this wild manhwa. Ishibara grabs the binoculars after spotting a massive heat source. He expects the Orochi boss, but nope, just a girl running from a literal monster horde. She was clearly being hunted. Seeing this, Ishibara orders his crew to prioritize saving her. Strategy: rescue the girl while Shinji's team handles Orochi. The scouts nod and agree completely. Shinji smugly accepts the mission, though he secretly finds the leader super annoying. He commands his girls to attack. They unleash their powers on the creatures while Shinji smirks, ordering Himawari to jump into the fight as well. With zero options, she reluctantly agrees. The running girl trips, crying out in fear. Himawari rushes over, lands a clean sword strike to push the monster back, and asks if she's alright. The girl thanks her profusely. Other scouts step in as bodyguards, leaving the beasts to Himawari. Step 1 is a success. Hachi, who is actually the disguised girl, realizes this is the exact person Namiki respects so much. She silently admits that Himawari is actually pretty awesome. Walking past Shinji, he creeps on her beauty, planning to use his hypnosis later. Hachi rolls her eyes. This guy has zero class. Still, she waits for the perfect moment to strike while everyone is gathered together. Hachi stops using her tails to distract them. Suddenly, Himawari's monster totally changes direction. Now pay attention here. The beast flies straight at Shinji's group, making everyone panic instantly. Shinji turns around, completely terrified by the charging monster. He tries to run away, but a massive explosion goes off right behind him. He has absolutely no idea why it's only targeting him. Desperate, he activates his gravity ability to pin the beast. But the absolute second his power starts working, it gets completely cancelled out. Classic Hachi. She chuckles, using her magic nullification just to let the monsters terrorize him. Shinji hits the dirt like a coward, screaming at his girls for protection. The brainwashed girls obey instantly. But before they can act, Himawari steps right in front. She takes the heavy blow head-on and collapses. Hachi whispers in anger, calling her a total idiot for risking her life. Her master is going to be so mad. Himawari struggles to stand while Aoi watches in pure confusion, not understanding this selfless sacrifice. She claims she has to protect Aoi and Namiki since they are basically her disciples. Shinji's gross hypnosis kicks back in, ordering Aoi never to use powers without his permission. Seeing her friend suffer, Himawari panics. Shinji cruelly threatens that if she avoids Orochi, Aoi will pay the price. Himawari screams at him to stop. Hachi sighs heavily. Okay, this is getting totally out of hand. Relaying info to the main character, Hachi summons another tail, completely spooking the scouts. We both know what's coming, right? Boom. Several monsters get sliced into nothingness. Himawari freezes immediately, recognizing our main character walking forward. Stunned, she whispers his name. Namiki smiles and rushes over just as she almost falls down. She insists she is perfectly fine, making him breathe a huge sigh of relief. Still, she needs to know how he survived. The craziest part, his aura feels totally different, especially after seeing him destroy Orochi instantly. Namiki just sighs. A lot happened. He asks what she is even doing here. She explains she came to grab his left-behind gear, glaring at Shinji on the dirt. Our hero stares coldly at the explorer. It takes Shinji a full second to recognize him. Completely shocked, he asks how he survived the dungeon. Namiki totally gets the confusion. After all, Shinji literally murdered him before all this. Hearing this, Himawari turns around in shock. She knew something felt wrong. Shinji nervously laughs, claiming she is just making up crazy accusations. He points at Namiki, mocking him as a level 100 weakling. Beating Orochi by pure luck doesn't mean anything. Far away, Hachi gets super annoyed by the disrespect. But our guy answers for himself. Boom. His aura explodes, freezing every explorer under insane pressure. Even Shinji completely locks up, terrified by this godlike power. Aoi's jaw drops. This is next level. The system scans him at level 6000, with stats completely impossible to measure. They stand face to face in dead silence. Then Namiki takes one step forward. Scared out of his mind, Shinji backs up. Ayu notices his obvious fear immediately. Furious, he slaps her across the face, yelling to shut up. Himawari rushes over, but Namiki freezes, not recognizing her at first. Shinji laughs, calling him pathetic for forgetting her. That's where we leave it. Trust me, you will want to see his payback. Let's dive back in. Aoi stayed quiet on the floor as Namiki finally demanded to know if hypnosis was involved. Shinji just cracked up laughing, daring our main character to figure it out, bragging he tried that exact same trick on his own idol. Shocked, Namiki glanced at Himawari. She confessed she tried fixing this mess alone because she genuinely believed he was dead. Bad move. Her solo plan totally failed, trapping her right in Shinji's twisted little web. She was an A-rank adventurer. His weird mind games could not fully control her. Did he care? Nope. He simply pivoted to a much easier target, taking over Aoi's brain with his hypnosis instead. The pressure hit Aoi hard. She begged him to stop, and Namiki was getting absolutely furious. Screaming at them both to quit it, she yelled that she was doing this for Shinji and suddenly lunged forward. Our hero blocked her crazy fast strikes, feeling real killing intent behind every hit. Strength was insane, clearly supercharged by Shinji. This was definitely not the real Io, so Himawari stepped up, ready to fight Shinji head-on. The explorer just laughed at her, blocking his path, warning her she was making a massive mistake. Namiki tried talking sense into Aoi, but she just screamed that he never noticed her true feelings. Hachi randomly joked that her master looked super busy right now. That startled him, but she had a solid plan. Now watch closely. Without missing a beat, Hachi jumped in. Shinji completely panicked, seeing this new girl get way too close. Hachi blasted a destruction spell called Extra Present, hitting Aoi with a direct strike. Boom. Aoi totally froze up, then blinked, completely confused. Our guy quickly asked if she was okay, and she just stared back, brain still buffering from the hit. He breathed a huge sigh of relief. The hypnosis was gone. She slowly stood up and grabbed her sword again. She claimed she had something major to say while Hachi strutted over, laughing, super proud of herself. Miki instantly realized Hachi had completely smashed the mind control magic gripping Aoi. Shinji was clueless, demanding to know what happened. Literally nobody cared. Hachi just wanted some quality attention from her master for being a good helper. He groaned about her being too clingy but promised head pats later, which made her ridiculously happy. Aoi just stared at them and asked who this pretty girl was. Before he could answer, she muttered she would only back down for Himawari. Suddenly, her aura exploded, catching Namiki totally off guard. Still, she did not hold back, confessing she always admired him. Ever since he saved her from a bully in school, everything changed. She had crushed on him since joining the dojo, always remembering how he kept her from quitting. But the huge problem was how he always looked at Himawari. Thinking he died left her feeling totally empty. Now seeing him cozy with Hachi, she snapped, screaming why he chose this random girl over her. Let's pause here. Namiki quickly jumped right in front to shield Hachi. Aoi screamed she would never forgive him. Shinji just chuckled, explaining his twisted power feeds on negative feelings until they turn into dark curses. That made Namiki even angrier, but Shinji kept his super arrogant smirk. The spell hijacked Aoi again. She cried for them to stop, and our guy realized fighting back would only hurt her. He froze up, honestly clueless on what to do. That is exactly when Himawari rushed Shinji, completely smashing his power, activating accessory. Shocked, the guy leaped backward quickly, putting safe distance between them all. Himawari geared up for round 2, but Shinji screamed at her to stop this madness. Voice shaking, he swore he absolutely refused to lose today. Then he cranked his enchantment ability to the max. Aoi was brainwashed again, and Shinji ordered her to hand herself over completely. Watching this nightmare, Namiki yelled, asking how he could hurt her. He tried moving closer, but Shinji was fueling all her hate, envy, and shame. That freak wanted to absorb all her awful feelings to get stronger. Completely hypnotized, Aoi agreed to surrender her power, and raw energy rushed into him. Himawari was completely stunned. Hachi muttered he was utter trash, literally exploiting a girl's worst feelings for his own sick benefit. Shinji just smiled, loving how much new power was surging through him. Himawari charged first, but Shinji instantly swatted her away using heavy gravity. She got locked midair while he kept bragging about his shiny new strength. Even crushed by gravity, Himawari refused to quit, desperate to save Aoi. What do you and I make of this guy? Absolute trash. Shinji laughed, increasing the crushing gravity, until Namiki stepped right in to protect her. He ordered Shinji to knock it off, furious. He was hurting people he cared about. Shinji called our boy a fake hero. He dropped that heavy gravity right onto Namiki, trying to force him down. But guess what? His upgraded power was totally useless here. Stick with me here. Our MC asked what messed up things he had done so far. Completely ignoring him, Shinji just cranked the pressure straight up to extreme high gravity. 0 damage. Shinji was absolutely stunned. Hachi watched proudly from the sidelines, telling him to just give up. Furious, Shinji targeted Aoi just to hurt Namiki. Himawari screamed for him to stop, but it was way too late. Boom! In a flash, our MC appeared right behind him, slashing him down and calling him pure trash. His agonizing scream echoed everywhere as he clutched his injured hand. Nobody stepped up to help. Completely dazed, he asked how a level 100 could pull that off. Grabbing him by the collar, our MC stepped up and dropped the bomb. He was actually level 6000 now. Tossing him to the floor, he ordered Hachi to cast some healing magic on the guy. She agreed totally reluctantly and accepted his command straight through their mental link. Slowly, medics hauled the injured away, including Shinji's mind-controlled girls. Crying her eyes out, Aoi called to Himawari, apologizing for everything. Himawari grabbed her hand, telling her not to blame herself. She then told Namiki to rest, promising it would be okay. Even while being carried to safety, Ai just kept sobbing and begging for forgiveness. Everyone watched the injured get carried away. Namiki checked on Himawari, asking if she was all right. Head still bowed, she quietly said yes. She checked on him too, and seeing he was totally safe, flashed a massive smile of relief. You feel that history, right? That sweet smile triggered old memories of when she was his biggest inspiration. Hachi laughed at their little moment until Ishibara sprinted over. He thanked Namiki for saving them all from Orochi, leaving our guy a little embarrassed. Ishibara explained that beating 3 of Orochi's 6 bodies was a massive leap forward for all of humanity. Plus, thanks to his epic interference, they actually managed to capture Shinji alive. Stuck on the 4th floor, the team decided to head back. Multiple explorers started praising Namiki for crushing Orochi so effortlessly. Getting hit with all that admiration left our MC totally awkward and speechless. Mentally, Hachi bragged about taking out the tails on purpose, reminding him about her promised reward. He promised to pay up later. When Ishibara asked his name, he introduced himself, and everyone remembered he was the first guy to hit level 100. Whispers broke out. People thought it was crazy for a supposed weakling to get this overpowered, even with fast leveling. Squashing Orochi like a bug seemed impossible. Himawari silenced the gossip. Ishibara apologized for the rude whispers, officially thanking him and offering a real guild reward for his help. You and I know exactly what's coming. Surprised, Namiki listened as Hachi mentally demanded something special. He instantly knew she meant those barrels of booze and smiled, remembering her funny weakness. Much later, Namiki finally stepped out of the dungeon, stretching like he hadn't seen daylight in ages. Hachi praised his hard work, but cheekily pointed out his favorite childhood crush didn't come along. Himawari stayed behind to clean up. When Hachi asked if he was bothered, he smiled. She always helped people, and he just wanted to be strong enough to support her. Right on cue, Ayaka walked up for a chat. Cut to the next day. Namiki and Hachi strolled into the Explorers Association right in the commercial district. While walking, Hachi complained she was hopelessly stuck on a mobile game and couldn't beat the level. Guy explained she either needed to recharge energy or wait a day. She was clueless about what recharging meant, so he bluntly told her it costs real money. Totally confused, she asked about paid gacha. He explained it was literally gambling money for random characters. Sometimes you hit the jackpot with strong gear, but usually it's trash because it's all based on luck. Hachi got absolutely furious, realizing she had to dump real cash just to get stronger in-game. The MC laughed, saying that's just how gacha works. Broke and desperate, she asked how to get cash. He suggested getting a job, opening an account, or just becoming an explorer like him. Even hiding under a massive hood, Hachi turned heads everywhere. After that last battle, tons of people saw her true form, and the crazy rumors were already spreading fast. Namiki knew if they weren't extremely careful, those rumors about her identity could get dangerously deadly. Plus the massive city damage. They definitely couldn't let anyone find out. Hachi was actually the disaster-level threat Orochi. Suddenly she yelled at Namiki for ignoring her, making him frantically apologize for zoning out in thought. Hachi playfully asked if he was worrying again, just like the day they met. Laughing, she declares she's becoming an adventurer, catching him completely off guard. Namiki calls it complicated. That's where we leave it. Trust me, chaos is coming. Stick with me here. Would the association actually accept someone like her? She figured his new influence could pull it off. He told her it wasn't that easy, but she just grinned. Honestly, she just wanted cash to blow on gacha pulls. On the way over, Namiki pointed out she had been gaming non-stop since yesterday. Hachi just whined about not wanting to ruin her streak. Meanwhile, from a rooftop above, silent eyes were watching their every move. They finally reached the association headquarters. Ayaka was right there waiting, greeting the duo with a massive smile. The MC immediately introduced Hachi as a friend. She smirked, asking if servant wasn't a better title. He quickly told her to knock it off. Ayaka just laughed at their little comedy routine and led them inside. Namiki asked why they were summoned anyway. Ayaka promised to explain everything upstairs and guided them straight to the elevator. She brought up the Orochi subjugation, mentioning she saw firsthand just how insanely well they fought. Once she reported that the senior manager practically demanded to meet him, the MC completely caught off guard by this. Ayaka added that Himari and Ishihara got the call too. They could have waited till tomorrow, but she wanted them there immediately. Reaching the top floor, Namiki couldn't help but wonder, why exactly did the manager want him? Suddenly, Hachi's voice echoed in his head. Did he feel something weird? Now pay close attention here. As they went up, a terrifying presence was creeping closer. Namiki felt it too, like they were being hunted. Hachi told him to stay sharp. Floor 48. Ayaka led them to an office door, asked permission to enter, and the manager spun around to say hi. Her job done, the receptionist bowed and slipped right out of the room, leaving the MC totally alone with this suited old guy. He introduced himself as the president of the Explorers Association, greeting our protagonist. But then he immediately pointed at Hachi, asking who she was. The old man kept smiling, but Haruka realized something. Despite that goofy face, he was insanely strong. Hachi agreed. Whatever this guy was, he was definitely hiding something big. Still confused about the rush, the protagonist flat out asked the old guy what he actually wanted. Flashing a sly smile, the president claimed he just wanted to say thanks for the Orochi subjugation and catching those criminals. But then his vibe changed to pure excitement. Kyogoku had told him everything. He was absolutely blown away that this kid one-shotted 3 disaster-class forms like it was nothing. Then, dead serious, the guy in the suit dropped a bomb. Did Haruka make a contract with the villain? That heavy aura hit Haruka, instantly terrifying him. He tried to analyze the boss, but Hachi quickly reminded him he literally doesn't have detection skills. Hachi warned him that the old man was using a mythical class spell. Even she couldn't read his status. Hearing that our protagonist asked if it was the same magic she used earlier, she nodded, confirming it was exactly that. She didn't know what it was exactly, but this guy definitely had his hands on a ton of secret information. Realizing this old man was bad news, she told her teammate to stay right behind her. You and I know what comes next. The suited guy activated a skill, suggesting a little test. Out in the hallway, coworkers casually asked the secretary if the guests were inside. She figured they were chatting. Then bam, the door blasted right off its hinges onto her head. Himari instantly drew her sword. She felt that massive energy spike and absolutely needed to know what was happening. The protagonist yelled at his partner to stay back. Right on cue, the president launched his skill straight at Haruka. He tried using his divine observation, but no luck. Haruka quickly turned to Hachi, trusting her to keep Kyogoku and Ishihara safe from the blast. Then he sprinted straight toward Himari. It was completely do-or-die time now. The protagonist desperately tried to neutralize the enemy attack, but only managed to split it. With zero room to dodge, he hugged his partner to shield her. But Hachi jumped in front, tanking the damage and revealing her true wild form. Even after taking that brutal hit, the girl just smiled and asked if he was hurt. Haruka panicked, saying he was fine but freaking out over her wounds. She casually brushed it off, saying she just dropped her guard. Himari thanked her for saving them, urging her to get those wounds treated quickly. But Hachi completely unbothered by it. Instead, Hachi just triggered a healing skill. In a matter of seconds, she was perfectly fine, leaving the girl absolutely shocked at her insane recovery. Still in shock, the protagonist asked if she was really okay. She just nodded, but then her tone shifted. They had to take this seriously now, or they were definitely going to end up dead. The old man, super impressed. They were way better than his reports claimed. Now he was completely fired up for a real fight, and the kids were ready too. Trust me, you'll love this. The secretary suddenly bursts in, screaming like a maniac to stop. All right, you and I are jumping back in. Everyone finally cools off, and the president actually apologizes. His secretary bluntly reminds him she had already explained Namiki's special status. She bluntly warned him that going completely all out would just destroy the surrounding area. She tells him to seriously use his head, and the guy finally backs down. Completely lost, Haruka walks over and asks what the heck just happened. The woman explains they only brought them here for testing. They needed to know if these two were going to end up as major enemies. The girl asks if Hachi is actually the disaster class Orochi. Everyone is totally shocked, and she wonders how they even figured out that massive secret. The president proves it, and she senses another dark presence inside him. Realizing exactly who it is, Hachi says that monster lives deep in the dungeon, or at least that is where it belongs. The main character asks if his teammate knows this guy, and she admits they share some serious history. She adds that she honestly thought Lindworm would avoid humans never making a contract with one. Haruka realizes their connection and starts wondering if other dragons are hiding nearby. Now pay attention here, because things get incredibly weird. Before they can even continue, Heiji asks about the awkward secretary. The suited guy reveals she is a half-human, half-monster hybrid who literally made a contract with his mom. Himari admits she had heard rumors about hybrids, but this is her first time seeing one in real life. The girl explains that nobody knows about her monster half, so she keeps it strictly hidden. But whenever she gets overly emotional, her monster traits literally slip out. She fights hard to stay perfectly calm, or else she would be kicked right out of the dungeon city. Himari asks if she deals with prejudice. The secretary admits people seriously look down on hybrids. Despite all that, Heiji somehow discovered her dark secret while she looked completely human. The woman replies that she has always lived in a dungeon, plus she really did not hide it well. Raising his hand, our main character admits he was suspicious too. Annoyed, Haruka instantly scolds him, yelling that he should have spoken up way earlier. Himari then asks if Kyogoku was telling the absolute truth about Heiji being a disaster-class Orochi. The answer A, solid yes. Ishihara just cannot believe a terrifying dragon transformed into someone so incredibly beautiful. Confused, the girl asks what is happening. The main character begs for forgiveness, promising a full explanation later, but pleads with her to just calm down. Smiling, the president mutters that things are getting interesting. He suggests moving this chat somewhere private. Inside the meeting room, the secretary confirms their investigation, proves Haruka and Heiji are absolutely not enemies. She sincerely thanks them for cooperating, though the old man notes they still have their guard completely up. Main character thinks that is super obvious. The president literally just attacked him, plus he is contracted to a dangerous lindworm. The boss tells him to relax. Even though Heiji is a disaster-class Orochi, he still protected innocent humans during that fight. He insists this tiny disagreement will not spark a war. The boss firmly states that from here on, they can fully trust him. Immediately after, his subordinate praises the entire Orochi subjugation squad for their hard work. You definitely saw that coming, right? Smiling, she offers them a sweet reward to just keep everything a secret. Himari tries to argue, but the guy bows in deep gratitude. Then he drops a bomb. Haruka is officially promoted to a rank A explorer. Sweating, our guy admits he is super nervous since he was literally just a low-tier rank D, but the old man remembers the main character dominating that last fight. He knows the kid is more than qualified. Having watched him fight this entire time, Himari begs the old man to reconsider this crazy promotion. Eventually, both sides completely agree. The boss then makes it official. Heiji is officially allowed to join their exclusive association. Hearing this, she hugs the main character, completely thrilled that they get to stay together. Himari glares at them with pure, murderous intent, demanding her partner explain exactly what is going on between them. Meanwhile, out in the city, wild rumors are already spreading about a nobody, rank D, jumping straight to rank A. People think it is just fake news, but nearby phones show endless articles blasting the crazy promotion. Some random guy looking exactly like Michael Jackson slides in asking what she is looking at and if he can peek. A blonde girl named Ichigo tells him to look while she bathes. Meanwhile, Himari suddenly flashes back to monsters ruthlessly invading her village. The girl quickly steps in front of Haruka to protect him, asking if he is hurt. Smiling, he swears it is just a tiny scratch. She wonders why those things attacked her village. Suddenly, with her guard completely down, a terrifying creature lunges right at her. The main character grabs his sword. Trust me, we both need to see what happens next. Stick with me here. Himari jumps in front, taking a brutal shoulder hit. Haruka bursts into tears, completely crushed, swearing he'll get strong enough to protect her someday. Flash forward to the present. Heiji is busy trying on clothes at a shop, asking her coworker how it looks. Our boy admits it actually doesn't look bad on her at all. Himari drops the compliments, hyping her up. It looks absolutely perfect. Naturally, they wonder how the heck she hid that giant tail, and Heiji drops that Kyogoku gave her some secret tips. Haruka casually points out those two are definitely hanging out a lot lately. Heiji decides to buy the outfit, but her shopping spree isn't over. She's already dragging them off to the very next store. Himari tells her to hold up, they actually have to pay first. Tiny problem though. Heiji is totally flat broke. I know what you're thinking, Haruka pays right. Well, before our boy even grabs his wallet, his coworker steps up to cover the entire bill. Haruka panics, saying she really doesn't have to, but Himari just brushes it off. Since Heiji helped her out recently, this officially makes them even. Hearing that, Heiji gets super hyped, declaring Himari is an absolutely top-tier person. She then asks if they can be on a first-name basis. Himari just smiles and totally agrees. Later at a cafe, the protagonist thanks her for the financial rescue. Himari just laughs, joking that it was a good thing she tagged along today. Of course, Heiji gets bored fast, asking if they can finally go home. Haruka agrees, and she starts humming, ready for some serious gaming revenge. Haruka is honestly just surprised. She plans to keep sweating those games back home. Watch closely here. Himari looks instantly bothered, asking if they actually live together. Haruka cluelessly just says yes. He quickly explains she was too broke to rent her own place. Plus, Heiji proudly chimes in, obviously she stays by her master. That specific word sets off alarms. Himari gets extremely curious about that master title. She immediately slams our boy against the wall, asking if he has some weird kinks. Then completely out of nowhere, she actually suggests moving in with Heiji herself. Heiji refuses to leave her master, so Himari just casually invites Haruka to live with them too. Right on cue, our protagonist's phone starts buzzing like crazy. He excuses himself from the table to check the screen. It is a message from Kyogoku, an absolute emergency request straight from the Explorers Association. A massive goblin swarm just hit the third floor, led by a goblin champion. Trust me, you and I don't want to miss this fight. Alright, stick with me here. Tons of innocent people just got injured, so the woman desperately asks if they can check the area. The squad accepts the mission and rushes straight over. Inside the tunnel, Heiji starts wondering if her master is exhausted, considering they have been running non-stop forever. But he casually drops that they still have over 1 kilometer left. This completely crushes her, and she groans about walking. Our hero quickly remembers her major flaw: she only moves fast near water, and this place is bone dry. Heiji asks why they don't just grab a car, but Himari shuts that down. Zero permission for association vehicles without a mountain of paperwork. I know what you're thinking, but remember the Orochi mission. They begged for a ride back then and got absolutely zero help. Endless emergencies completely ruined the vehicle schedules. Heiji hates how humans obsess over annoying rules, but our main guy points out it keeps society from collapsing. Moving on, Haruka notices the crazy good upkeep and wonders where they even get the funding. Out of nowhere, a massive headache hits him. His partner panics, but he brushes it off and thanks her for looking out for him. Finally, they spot the literal light at the end of the tunnel. But stepping outside, they are completely speechless. Dozens of goblins just scattered everywhere and knocked out cold. And trust me, you and I both know someone way stronger beat our squad here. Stick with me here, our crew just realized this. Michael Jackson lookalike is standing there randomly smiling. Our hero asks if he soloed all those monsters. But the guy casually admits he actually had some backup. Instantly, the trio goes on high alert. Haruka scans the area, totally confused because the place looks completely empty. Wrong again. The guy smirks, claiming his partner is right there. Suddenly, Haruka freezes. A girl is standing inches away. Total panic sets in. How did she get that insanely close without making a single sound? The mysterious dude drops a bombshell. She was standing right there the entire time. Don't blink now. The stealthy girl finally speaks, complimenting our hero's absolute pure strength. Boom, she instantly lunges at Haruka. He barely dodges, absolutely mind-blown by her lightning speed. Since his strength is legit, the girl promises to stop holding back and get completely serious for this fight. The chaos continues. Meanwhile, Mia casually reveals her teammate is actually just testing Himari's limits. But Ichigo, she claims it is nowhere near enough, unleashing a relentless barrage of non-stop attacks. Our hero panics, desperately trying to distract her. Himari is just left completely shocked by this kid's godlike power. The girl hits Himari with a brutal vibration skill. And trust me, if she doesn't break free fast, her entire body is going to completely overload. Watch closely, Ichigo dares her to bring it on, and she warns him not to underestimate her. Himari flexes every muscle in her body, and the girl instantly realizes this is a pure body enhancement. Let's dive right into this showdown. They violently clash and slide backward, earning mutual respect, but the kid smirks. This brawl is nowhere near over. Himari refuses to back down, charging straight ahead. But right before they collide, Mari suddenly activates a skill to swap their positions. Dodging the pointless fight, Ichigo straight up warns her partner to cut the unnecessary nonsense. He apologizes for interfering, noting they aren't too far away now. Haruka nods in total agreement because the real threat is sprinting right at them. Right on cue, a random explorer comes bolting away from a monster running entirely out of steam. Suddenly, a massive swarm of creatures drops in, led by a gigantic alpha beast. Himari asks her partner if he is absolutely certain, and he firmly says yes. The boy calculates the danger. 30 raging creatures plus one high-tier boss. They will arrive in exactly 1 minute. Mari is completely blown away by our main character's sharp skills. Ichigo catches her teammate staring way too hard and calls it totally gross. But the guy gets real. This situation is deadly serious, so they are teaming up right now. Watch closely here. The monsters brutally chase down the other explorers, and Haruka zeroes in on that giant beast, definitely the pack leader. The system immediately calculates the optimal survival route. Seeing the strategy, our protagonist realizes they can actually pull off this raid together. He instantly barks orders, telling Himari to push forward with the kid, while Heiji lays down heavy cover fire. His personal mission: rescue the innocent explorers and solo the massive boss monster himself. First, the young guy quickly introduces himself to the duo. He asks if Mia can assist the girls, getting an instant yes. The wannabe king of pop is absolutely stunned. Our main character just formulated a flawless strategy using everyone's unique skills in a matter of seconds. A monster lunges straight at Himari. She blocks and strikes back hard, suddenly realizing these freaks are moving with terrifying tactical precision. Just like the other explorers, Ichigo yells at her to stay super focused. More beasts are creeping up behind her. Himari slices through them with zero effort. Even the little girl can tell these dark creatures are acting incredibly weird right now. Right on cue, she asks Mia for a buff, and suddenly the girl's battle axe transforms into a massive heavy weapon. Monsters swarm her, but boom, one colossal swing completely wipes the floor with them. Enraged, the undead leader loses its mind and charges an adventurer. Watching the carnage, Haruka genuinely wonders if that was a unique skill. The fierce woman backs her master, clearing his path to push forward. Using that perfect distraction, our main character lands a brutal combo on the boss, finishing it off. And just like that, they both level up. Haruka and his partner celebrate their epic victory. Meanwhile, Himari just silently stares at her teammate. He awkwardly asks if something is wrong, but she flashes a sweet smile, saying it is nothing. Inside, she realizes just how much this guy has truly grown. The rescued adventurers deeply bow, endlessly thanking the awesome squad for saving their lives. But our humble boy waves it off, hating the formal treatment. Himari beams with pride, completely embarrassing our hero with her genuine praise. I know what you're thinking. Didn't everyone mock this guy for being a totally weak level 100 before his death? Exactly. But everything hits different now. He has finally leveled up his strength and gathered a crew of ride-or-die friends. Haruka still has zero clue why he possesses the God's Test ability, hoping to uncover the truth soon. But getting answers means diving much deeper into the deadly dungeon. Fast forward to today. Our protagonist is 21, an A-rank powerhouse, but tragically his entire family is still missing. Underneath that badass exterior, he is incredibly patient, deeply caring, and surprisingly affectionate. His main hobbies, literally sewing and geeking out over swords. Growing up, Haruka was actually raised in a Dungeon City orphanage. That is exactly where his lifelong bond with Himari Tachibana began. From there, he started training at his dad's slum dojo. Himari, on the other hand, is currently 24 and a top-tier A-rank explorer. Originally from the Flow District, she grew up tough, raised entirely by a single parent. Her elegant downtime hobbies include traditional tea ceremonies and mastering flawless calligraphy. Sadly, her mom ended up passing away from illness back in elementary school, so her father raised her. Following that heartbreak, she threw her soul into practicing martial arts at the dojo. She absolutely mastered the sword, spear, and archery. Debuting as a high school explorer, the media instantly obsessed over her as a pure combat genius. Thanks to all that insane public hype and skyrocketing popularity, a totally secret, unofficial fan club formed around her 7 years ago. But a dark incident haunts these two. A completely unidentified monster violently ambushed Haruka. He was just training at the dojo. Himari bravely jumped in, taking a brutal injury in the chaotic process. By the time backup finally arrived, the beast vanished. To this day, its dark motives remain an absolute mystery. Mia explains that trauma deeply shifted the teen's relationship. But suddenly Kyogoku interrupts, telling our oversharing main character to seriously calm down a bit. The guy asks what is wrong. Turns out Haruka was asked for a simple combat report, but completely derailed the story. So that's where we leave it. Trust me, you'll want more. Let's dive right back in. The serious suit guy asks to just continue with the report. Mia nervously apologizes for getting a little too carried away there. Back on track, he points out a crazy detail from their recent fight with Haruka. Both the name of his special ability and what it actually does are completely unknown. They seriously wonder if this kid actually made a contract with the disaster class Orochi. He calls our boy a total mystery. I mean, he is basically a level 100 newbie. Mia swears it has to be a system bug since he leveled up insanely fast. The old man admits he is super curious about it too. During their room brawl, right when Mythic class magic activated, the kid suddenly yelled out Divine Prediction. Man, his lightning-fast and ultra-precise movements left everyone completely stunned. Mia also points out that Haruka's leadership was absolutely top tier the other day. He somehow analyzed and figured out everyone's abilities in record time. The president thinks Haruka might be a massive threat since he is hiding a major secret. But honestly, he finds the kid incredibly fascinating. Now pay close attention here. Kyogoku wonders if leaking his private evaluations would make things wild. She pushes to keep digging into him, and the old man orders Mia to stick to his monitoring mission. Mia decides to head out, but right before he leaves, the receptionist tells him to report back the second he finds out anything new. Walking away, he realizes making an enemy out of the old man would be terrifying. Outside, he literally bumps straight into Ichigo. He totally wants to know what he was discussing with the boss, but Mia brushes it off as absolutely nothing important. To distract her, Mia mentions she can finally team up with Haruka again. Hearing that, her face completely lights up. Mia just hopes Haruka takes the bait. Flash forward a bit, and Himari is standing around alone, wondering where the heck her squad is. Suddenly, our two resident slackers come sprinting over with Haichi complaining about all the running. Haruka complains they are incredibly late because the girl refused to wake up. She fires back, claiming she couldn't fall asleep until dawn anyway, but the poor guy just sighs, reminding them they agreed to leave early. Haichi whines about the loot being trash, but Haruka is completely done with her excuses. The slacker then apologizes to Himari, who sweetly says it is totally fine. The sleepyhead hugs Himari tight, praising her kindness. She loudly adds how different she is compared to a certain strict boss. Right on cue, Mia and his buddy finally arrive and apologize for the delay. He explains that Ichigo is a total zombie in the mornings because of her low blood pressure. She can barely function. With the squad assembled, they charge into the dungeon. The main objective: completely wipe out the boss and his minions at the very bottom. Haruka gets suspicious and asks Mia where this quest came from, since it wasn't on the official guild board. Plus, it comes with a ridiculously massive payout. We're talking 5 million here. Haichi instantly does the math. 1 million each. She gets super hyped to blow it all on video games. Meanwhile, Mia begs the group to just trust him even though he refuses to drop the secret client's name. Ichigo immediately starts grilling him about it, but the poor guy just tells her to drop the subject for now. He suddenly remembers how ridiculously excited she was earlier about finally getting the old team back together. Blonde gets defensive, insisting it is not like that at all. But hey, maybe someone else feels that way. Our guy completely catches the hint but decides to focus on the actual dungeon mission. Let that sink in for a second. Haruka's life totally flipped after getting Divine Prediction, but even he doesn't fully understand his own broken skill yet. Sure, he farms a ridiculous amount of experience points now, but if greedy explorers found out, they would absolutely try to steal it. Out of nowhere, that same splitting headache from before hits him. Mari notices him acting sketchy and gets worried. But Haruka quickly plays it off, swearing he is fine. He quietly admits he feels like he's on the verge of remembering something huge. Naturally, Himari is completely lost. To be fair, he can't really explain it either. But then a system warning drops. Disaster-class monsters are charging fast. Haruka immediately triggers his Divine Prediction to start calculating the perfect battle strategy. Since he goes completely silent, Mia starts staring, trying to figure out his secret. Haruka catches him looking and gets super annoyed. He realizes Mia isn't just treating him as some mysterious newbie anymore. The guy is actively investigating him right now. Haichi whispers that Haruka is impossible to read. The leader then announces his skill, says they need to split into 2 squads, requesting her help. The woman quickly warns everyone that multiple goblin knights are among the incoming enemies. You know as well as I do, getting surrounded here means game over. So splitting up is their only survival play. Haichi orders Himari and Mia to hold down the right passage. Meanwhile, she takes Haruka and Ichigo to the left to set up a brutal ambush. Stick with me here. Himari asks why her teammate is acting so weird, getting a classic explain later brush off. She hates that answer, but honestly, she just rolls with it. Before taking off, she tells our guy to stay safe. His response, a cool promise to meet up after everything ends. The squad scatters to their spots. But Mia catches on fast. They totally benched him on purpose. Mari checks if he can actually throw hands. He plays it humble, claiming he only knows the absolute basics. She points out these enemies love ganging up, so she assigns him rear guard duty. Mia just laughs, noting how painfully serious Himari is, basically the polar opposite of our main guy. So he straight up asks if they are a couple. Cue Himari turning bright red immediately. He snaps that it is completely inappropriate. He just shrugs, saying he was only trying to break the ice. Boom. A wolf-riding goblin suddenly lunges at Himari out of nowhere, but she casually blocks the strike. Mia gets hyped to finally fight. Now, watch closely. Himari charges right in, but a monster blasts out thick mist. Bad news, her vision hits zero. Out of nowhere, a sneaky goblin grabs her sword from behind. Being totally swarmed, Himari panics. Where in the world did Mia actually go? A split second later, she gets slammed down hard, pinned by the ugly monsters. Seeing their disgusting smirks, it clicks. She knows exactly what these creeps want, screaming at the top of her lungs for them to back off. She tries struggling, but her body quits on her. She curses the trash mobs until one of them viciously bites down on her bare shoulder. She shrieks in absolute agony. The sick goblin just staring at her, totally loving it. Goblins view women as nothing but prey. They are absolutely trying to shatter her spirit right now, so she stops putting up a fight. But wait, weak goblins cannot drain stamina like this. It hits her that weird mist from earlier must have been a nasty paralytic. Her shoulder wound throbs violently. Panic sets in as she desperately scans the area for literally any single escape route. She feels incredibly pathetic, dropping her guard. Just imagining Haruka seeing her this helpless makes her boil over with pure frustration. A goblin grabs her dagger to end it. But you and I didn't see this coming. He gets instantly hypnotized and drops it. No idea what just happened, but she is not wasting this lucky break. She violently rips herself free. Adrenaline kicks in. She knows if she stops moving for even a second, it is totally game over. A goblin sneaks up from behind. She spins around insanely fast, slamming an arrow right into him. More monsters swarm in, but she cleanly dodges and brutally takes down the giant wolf. That shoulder wound is sapping her energy fast, getting way too intense. She knows she needs to wrap this up right now. Spotting her dropped sword in the dirt, she makes an absolute mad dash to grab it. Huge mistake. She takes a brutal hit right to the back. Still, she staggers up, activating her sword's ultimate ability. That is where we leave it. Drop a like, and let's watch the rest next time. Bye.